The Adventures of Sailor Sam.
Land ho!
Where away?
Starboard bow!
Hear the creak of the rigging. Listen to the wind whip the sails. Yes, boys and girls, Sailor Sam's big schooner, the Porpoise, plunges swiftly through the waves, eager to serve her master. Where's she going? Wish I could tell you, but we'll have to find out from Sailor Sam, an adventurous young man whose hunt for scientific truth takes him anywhere. Yes, anywhere. And with him go his two young cousins, Buddy and Nancy. Aye, mate. It's full speed ahead now for seafaring thrills with Sailor Sam!
Sam, I will not let you shoot my white gorilla.
Mr. Paradise, we won't shoot it if we don't have to. But it's foolhardy to track down that big fellow without some way to stop him if he decides he doesn't want to be caught.
Well, this has certainly turned into some vacation for Sailor Sam. A big white gorilla has escaped from the amusement park near where Sam and the crew are staying and has been traced as far as the backyard of the cottage where they are. Clarence Paradise, owner of the park, has come on the scene with a cage in a truck, hoping to recapture the large beast. And finally, Constable Kimberly has come running from the woods, saying that he has seen and wounded the ape. Right now, Sam, Ole, Clarence Paradise, and Constable Kimberly are on their way to the spot where the constable shot the gorilla.
Keep your eyes open, men. He might be anywhere in this woods.
That's a pleasant thought.
I think I'll just release the safety on this rifle here.
Please, don't you understand? I can't have that animal shot.
I'm afraid he's already been shot, Mr. Paradise.
I mean shot and killed. That's an expensive animal.
First white gorilla I've ever seen, or heard of for that matter.
He's not really white. You know, they bleach him.
Is that so?
That doesn't make him any less valuable. That's a highly trained animal. It would take years to break another one in.
I'm sure. A new one might try to escape or something.
I don't think that's very funny. How far are we from the spot where you saw him?
We're here, right over there by that tree. I think he went off in that direction.
You think?
Mister, he went one way and I went the other, and I don't think either of us turned around to see which way the other was going.
Look, Skipper, over here.
Oh, what have you found, Ole?
It looks like bloodstains here on the ground.
Yep, that's what they are, all right. This is just about the place he was standing when I let him have it.
Please!
It doesn't look like he was bleeding very badly. I don't see much of a trail to follow.
Good.
Let's divide. Ole, you and the constable check over in that area, and Clarence and I will check back in here. Look for any signs of a trail. If you find something, sing out. We'll do the same.
Yes, Skipper. Come on, Constable.
I hope we don't come on him all of a sudden.
Remember, men, don't shoot unless it's absolutely necessary. Let's try to take him alive.
Okay, Sam. But I don't care much for the idea.
Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate the way you're helping.
Let's check over here, Clarence. Now, we'll want to look for anything that's out of the ordinary. Grass pushed down, bloodstains, of course. Probably some hairs that might have caught on the bushes or trees. Come on.
Yeah, we gotta find him.
I suppose he does represent a good financial investment to you.
Not so much his actual cost, Sam, but the attraction of the act. People really come to see a man wrestle an ape.
Guess they do.
Sure, something out of the ordinary, something a little bit spectacular. Puts color into their drab little lives. They need it.
I suppose many people feel they do.
The way I see it, if I get my reward in the hereafter, it'll be for helping people to smile a bit and forget their troubles. I think that's a real service in this day and age.
Clarence,
Yes, Sam?
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If you had, let's say, a bad stomach ache and went to see a doctor about it, and while you were in his office you felt fine,
Yeah?
but when you were away from his office, the ache was back in full strength, how much would you pay the doctor for his help?
Help? That's no help. Why, I wouldn't pay the quack anything at all. What are you trying to say, Sam? Maybe I'm not performing much of a service?
Not exactly. But I don't think you'd better count too hard on being rewarded for your amusement park.
Well, I was only half kidding anyhow. Besides, a stomach ache, as you call it, that most people have, can't be cured.
Can't it?
You know, Sam, you're a hard man to figure out. The whole bunch of you are. Oh, I don't know. Hard to figure out.
Sam, over here. We found his trail.
We'll talk more about it, Clarence. Right now, let's see what Ole and the constable have found.
Looks like he's doubled back. Maybe after me.
Let's see what you found, Ole.
Hey, look, Skipper. See how the grass and those stains circle around and come out right on the path that we took to get here?
Yes, I see. Do you know what that means?
Looks to me like he might have chased me away. So I'm glad I kept moving.
Well, if he did chase you, Constable, that means he's ended up somewhere near the cottage. And unless I miss my guess, he's back there right now.
Boy, I sure wish they'd let me go along. There they are, out there tracking that big gorilla. And I have to sit here and play house.
Now, buddy, it's not as bad as all that. At least you don't have to worry about that ape jumping out from behind some bush at you.
I'm just as glad to be right here, thank you. They said that gorilla broke some of the strong man's bones.
That's right, honey. Well, if he could do that to a strong man, just think what he could do to you, buddy.
Sam and the others would be there.
Well, I'm glad you're not. We need the protection of a man around here.
Well, I know you're just saying that.
No, I'm not.
Well, somebody said it.
Well, I'm going to start on supper. Maybe you can work off some of that energy by going out to the supply shed and bringing me in some meat. I figure we're going to have a table full for supper, so bring in that ham that's out there,
Are you going to let him go out there alone?
Oh, Nancy.
But that gorilla's out there somewhere.
He's way back in the woods where Sam and the others went.
Well, I think it's probably safe. Besides, Buddy can take care of himself. Run along now and make it snappy, I've got to start getting ready right away.
Okay. Go out back and get some meat. We need a man around here. Boy, what I wouldn't give to be out there with Sam and Ole and the others chasing that big gorilla. They've probably got him cornered in some clump of trees and are moving in on him. I can almost hear him starting to growl and getting mad. Huh? For a second there, I thought I really did hear him growling. Maybe I better think about something else. Hey, that's not imagination. I wonder what that is. Well, it couldn't be the gorilla. He's somewhere back in the woods, I think. Boy, I've never heard a growl like that before. I wonder where it's coming from. Sounds like over in the direction of the supply shed. Or maybe I'd better call Hazel. No, why call her if it really isn't anything? I'll just walk over there real slowly and see if there is anything in there. There sure is something in there. The door's open. I wonder if it could be a white ape. There he is, the white gorilla. He must have gotten away from Sam and the others. What'll I do? I know. The handle and lock are on the outside. If I can sneak over there and slam and lock the door, he'll be caught inside. Oh, if only he doesn't decide to come out while I'm on my way over. Boy, look at the size of him. I better start over there. Now! I got him! I caught him! Hazel, Nancy, come and see! I've captured the white gorilla!
Here they come. Now, just act as though it happened every day.
Hi there, Hazel. Nancy.
Hi, kids.
Didn't find him, eh?
No, we didn't. We followed his trail.
Seem to be leading back here.
And then we lost him.
Hey, you haven't seen any signs of the gorilla around here since we left, have you?
Well, as a matter of fact, we have.
What?
That's right. Came around here not too long after you left.
Hazel, are you back to your old tricks again?
No, Sam, I'm serious. Never been more serious in my life.
Well, you certainly don't seem to be afraid of anything.
I'm not. We had good protection.
What are you talking about? We were all out looking for him.
Sure you were. But you left one man behind. And he was plenty enough to outwit that old monkey.
This kid here?
Buddy, what's this all about?
You want to tell him, buddy?
No, there really isn't too much to tell. We just caught the gorilla, that's all.
That's all.
How'd you do it?
Well, where is he?
I thought that would surprise you. One question at a time.
Buddy found him in the supply shed and locked him in there.
Good work, Buddy.
Well, I guess I can just get my truck over here now and put him in the cage.
Looks like it, Clarence. Come on. I'll be glad to see that the animal's caged as soon as possible. Swing a little to the right. That's good. Hold it.
That should do it fine, Sam. Now all we got to do is open the cage, then open the door to this shed. You probably come charging out and run straight into the cage.
I wonder why we haven't heard him. He was roaring like crazy when I locked him in there.
Probably because he's eaten.
Exactly what I was thinking. He's probably napping after his supper.
Now, well, you can believe me when I say that I'm not at all happy about that big thing eating all our food.
I shall personally pay back any loss, Miss Hazel.
Well, I thought you probably would. But I don't know if I like the idea of putting food in there after he's been running around, that big old dirty thing.
Me either.
There. Now that's ready.
That's a good, strong-looking cage there.
That cage will hold almost anything. I don't foresee any trouble with him at all. He's eaten his fill. That should have made him much more agreeable. Okay, Sam, open her up and let's get him into this cage.
All right.
Come on, Nancy, let's us back up a little.
Wait till you see how big he is.
Okay, big fella, you're free.
He doesn't seem to want to come.
I can't see him there. Maybe he's asleep.
Look.
No, boy.
Stay back, buddy. If he is awake and sees anyone, he just might get excited enough to be a bigger problem, especially if his wound is bothering him.
What's the matter with him? Why doesn't he come out?
Well, what should we do, Sam?
You all just stand by. I'm going to slap the walls of the shed around the back, and maybe the noise will rouse him and send him out.
Good idea.
Here goes. Get ready.
It doesn't seem to be working.
He isn't making a sound in there.
He went around to the back and stopped.
Sam, why have you stopped?
Hey, look!
Sam, is anything wrong?
Something's coming out the
Look
door.
out! Look out!
If I knew how to growl, I would.
Sam!
Sam!
I'm sorry to report that our big catch got away.
Well, how did you get in there?
Through the hole that our hairy friend made in the rear of the shed when he left.
He broke out through the wall?
That's right.
Wow.
Looks to me like he's a lot more anxious to stay free than we thought. I'm sure that wound is bothering.
Well, how do you think we're going to get him, Sam?
I don't know right now. He knows we're after him, and he isn't in any mood to be caught.
He sure isn't, Sam. I have a feeling there'll be plenty more action before that ape is safely back in his cage at the Paradise Amusement Park. Be sure to be with us next time, boys and girls, for more thrill-packed adventure with Sailor Sam!
Stay tuned for the listening post.
Hey, what's this old post?
What's that?
You're gonna dent my bark.
Say, the thing talks.
Well, sure. I'm the listening post.
The listening post?
Yep. For years and years I've stood in this spot. I've seen much. I've heard much. And in my old wooden heart are stories.
Hi, boys and girls. We're finishing our book, Wilfred Grenfell, Doctor and Explorer. It's written by Joyce Blackburn and published by Zondervan. Will's ice pan adventure was widely reported in the English newspapers, and when Will went back to London to lecture and raise funds a year later, he was asked to tell about it wherever he spoke. Being Will, he all but dismissed it as just another episode in his action-packed life. At the end of the tour, he was to return to Boston instead of Labrador to receive honorary degrees from Harvard and Williams colleges. On the ship, Will spent some time with a Mr. Sterling, a hardy Scotsman who now lived in Chicago, and with his family. And Will was attracted to Mr. Sterling's daughter's friend. And within 3 days, he had asked her to marry him. She didn't consent immediately, but she did invite him and his mother to visit her family in Lake Forest, Illinois. They were married in November 1909. Anne Elizabeth McClanahan proved to be the perfect wife for him. She turned out to be an efficient manager, broker, and public relations expert, all rolled into one. 3 children were born to them, 2 boys and a girl. Now, Anne has a rare day alone, and she's writing a letter to Mr. Sterling. Dear, dear friend, if only you were here to share the view and quiet with me. Wilfred left early this morning for St. John's, taking the children along, and I must say, it is a treat to have the house to myself. At last, Wilfred's dream of a Seamen's Institute is coming true. The merchants of St. John's have raised the $175,000 Will said would be needed to build an adequate headquarters, and they'll lay the foundation stone while he's there. I do hope you're serious about coming to visit us this summer. Not only do I long for your good company, but I'm eager to show you what Wilfred has accomplished through the years. He doesn't tell you half, you know. For instance, the Seamen's Institute has been mentioned only briefly in his letters to you. I know, because I typed them from his dictation. But the idea is spreading in all directions. You see, the sailors go ashore in ports altogether strange to them, to walk up and down the streets with nothing to do. Naturally, when it's cold, which is most of the time, the one place they can take shelter is in a saloon. Of course, the resulting problems of drinking and prostitution have concerned even the government. Wilfred has convinced the officials that Seamen's Institutes are the answer. They will be hotel-like buildings erected in the busiest ports to provide a clean place for the men to sleep and eat. There will be planned recreation and simple religious services for them. I don't need to tell you that alcoholic beverage will not be served. He is always so full of ideas. Honestly, I never stop being amazed. And the way he can communicate them to other people. You know how he hates lecture tours. But the moment he begins speaking, he has the attention of every person in the room. And he could hold it indefinitely if I didn't give him a high sign to quit. By the way, as a result of the last tour, we've more volunteers applying to help us than we can use. Isn't that marvelous? The more Wilfred stresses the hardships up here, the more recruits he gets. And you know how little the workers are paid. They're calling themselves WOPs, which stands for without pay. I've decided Wilfred gets this remarkable response because he never spares himself. He's the hardest working volunteer of them all, and he has that special way of making anything good attractive. Many times he says to me the same thing he says from the platform. Nothing is too good or too much for God. Of course, there are setbacks, which Wilfred doesn't tell you about, my dear. Right now, he's very worried about keeping the cooperative stores going. You may not know that when he first came here, the people took everything they trapped or caught to a few merchants who gave them supplies and food in exchange. Since the merchants had the advantage of setting any price they liked, they kept the people perpetually in debt to them by charging more than they claimed their fish and skins were worth. That way, the merchants never paid out cash, and the fishermen never had a cent to their names. To counteract this fraud, which caused the worst kind of poverty, Wilfred organized cooperative stores, which the people operated themselves. They then shared the profits. Of course, this has not made him exactly popular with the merchants. They're still trying, after all these years, to wreck the co-op enterprises. During that period, he also taught them to raise vegetables. One cabbage weighed 18 pounds. He taught them to can fresh salmon and berries, and to freeze fish, wild ducks, and geese for export. How he has had time to serve the government as an unpaid magistrate and justice of the peace. He married a couple the other day on deck of the Strathcona, and make maps and charts for the Royal Geographic Society. Even I cannot imagine. The latter gave him the coveted Murchison Prize, by the way. Was that featured in your newspapers? How I could write pages more, but must spare your poor eyes. I pray that this letter will convince you to make definite plans to visit us here. Nothing could please Wilfred or your adopted daughter more. Please write soon to say it's all settled. Our love and devotion, Anne. As she sealed the letter and addressed it, Anne Grenfell laughed aloud. If Wilfred read this letter, he would accuse me of exaggeration. But it's true. He is as wonderful as I say he is. Anne stood in the kitchen doorway, watching the sun disappear behind a grove of trees. The cold air and the fragrance of the spruce and fir and larch trees refreshed her. She wished she could take some in to Wilfred. What was she going to do with him? Through the crowded, active years, nothing had changed him. Not the success of the Grenfell Association, which was international now. Not the personal honors. The degrees from Oxford, Harvard, McGill, Williams, Middlebury, Berea. Not the Lord Rectorship of Scotland's great university, St. Andrews. Not the fellowships in the Royal College of Surgeons of England and the American College of Surgeons. Not even the knighthood bestowed upon him by grateful King George V. The crowning honor an Englishman can attain. Yes, his humility and simple grace had survived the burden of fame. None of it had changed him, Anne thought. None of it. But the recent heart attack had. It had changed him from a considerate, wise man of 70 into a rebellious, unreasonable case. He was stubbornly refusing to cooperate with the heart specialist in spite of knowing better than anyone the importance of doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. She had tried everything. She had pampered, debated, threatened, begged, and bribed. There was one other stratagem left to try on him. Oh, dear God, let it work, please. Let it work. Anne straightened her shoulders, and with her head held high, walked into Wilfred's bedroom. His face seemed tanner, his eyes bluer, his hair and mustache whiter against the pillows, and he smiled that sweetest smile when she sat down beside him. Wilfred, I've a question to ask you. Well, my dear, am I still good for something? Something really taxing, such as making up answers to a question or two? Don't be sarcastic, Wilfred. Aren't you the man I've heard say many times, a Christian doesn't need to be a sport, but he must be a good sportsman? Will glanced at her suspiciously. Yes, you've heard me say that. Why? Well, I think you're being a very poor sportsman. That's why. And most unreasonable. For years you've been telling me and the people on your staff and the world in general what to do, and we took orders because you knew what you were talking about. Now, it's your turn to do as we say, the doctors and I, and for the same reason. You and I are leaving for our summer home in the States, and you're going to rest your heart. Really rest it. I want you to live, Wilfred. Don't you understand? His smile was gone. Will that be living, Anne? Remember, I'm also the man who said we're not here to be safe. We must have faith and take risks. Life is not meant to be easy and humdrum. Life is a challenge. Remember that? Yes.
Of course. But has it occurred to you that in the present circumstances, it may be more challenging just to be? To be your best self in spite of inactivity, even though you can't do. Didn't you write in one of your books that reliance on physical strength was like war and insurance a failure? That only unselfish love can win in the end? Isn't it selfish of you to disobey the doctor's orders and worry me half to death? And what about all the other people who need you to get well? Doesn't unselfish love in this case include being quiet and idle until your heart heals? Trapping him with his own words struck Anne suddenly as being very funny, and she laughed. In a moment, Wilfred laughed too. Oh, all right, Lady Grenfell. I surrender. Kinloch House on Lake Champlain was situated in a lovely section of the Adirondack Mountains, and Will learned to spend the days there writing and painting and lazily piloting the motorboat his colleagues in St. Anthony had sent. But he didn't like the change. There was almost nothing he could do here except lecture and show his pictures of Labrador to clubs and churches and schools and resorts. But he could think of nothing else. He fired letters to the doctors at Battle Harbor, Northwest River, St. Anthony, Indian Harbor, and Twillingate hospitals, to the nurses at the nursing stations in Fort Tow, Mutton Bay, Flowers Cove, Cartwright, Harrington, urging all of them to try new ideas and methods, including the airplane. The airplane is the answer to many of our coastal transportation problems. So learn to fly. Anne, pleased with his improved health, launched her largest fundraising program ever to build a modern industrial center in St. Anthony where the people of the Northlands could produce handwork in quantity so that the sales would support them and their families. There would always be new projects, and the Grenfells were as full of dreams as ever, even though Wilfred's heart condition was a constant reminder that the dreams might be interrupted at any time. The thought of death didn't frighten him now any more than it had during those long hours on the ice pan years ago. He was ready for it. It would be another adventure in faith, another invitation to live still more fully. But he wasn't ready for death to come to Anne first. The shock of losing her was almost more than he could bear, and being far from home only sharpened his grief. She had wanted to be buried on the hill near their first house in St. Anthony, where they and the children had lived their happiest years, and so he took her back. The journey would have been agonizing if the people had not welcomed their doctor friend with such delight and joy. One of the mission steamers took him from St. John's up the coast he loved, and everywhere it stopped, the people waited with tears of gladness, their hands outstretched to welcome him. "Oh, thank God you've come back, Doctor." They said it again and again, and while he missed Anne more than ever, in some special way, she was there, sharing in the reunions and celebrations, the endless expressions of gratitude and love. The following year, 1940, Wilfred Grenfell died. It was in the month of October, the time of year he thought most beautiful in the North Country, the season of long nights and spectacular skies. And so he said goodbye to the land he loved and to which he gave a lifetime of service. And that's the end of our book, Wilfred Grenfell. It's published by Zondervan and written by Joyce Blackburn. Bye, boys and girls.
Bye, Mrs. Schmid.
That's our story for today. Listen again next time when Flo Schmid comes your way with another story from the Listening Post.
Now it's time for Captain Kids.
Hi, everyone on board the Good Ship Salvation. It's really a joy to have you boys and girls on board with us. We are also glad to have our old Uncle Remus with us, too.
Well, let your angel time is old Uncle Remus storytelling time, children. And I got the goodest little old story, and I'm going to get to the telling, too, in just a little bit. And the telling that I'm going to tell is how Brer Goofy Gopher make old Brer Fox do some promising. That's what gonna make the story so good. You know, I told you about old Brer Fox getting all shook up. Yeah, all shook up when that cave in on him, that Goofy Gopher done start the trap, you know, and all that dirt piled down on him, and just his head sticking out. And of course, old Brer Fox is powerful upset about the thing, but there ain't nothing that he can do, 'cause Goofy Gopher done sure catch him, and he know it. And the only thing he can do is agree to promise Goofy Gopher that he will do the things that Goofy Gopher gonna make him promise. And now, if everybody want to, and you're ready, let's get on over to where Goofy Gopher and old Brer Bear and Brer Rabbit and Sis Crow, and well, almost all of the outdoor folks is there, including, of course, old Brer Fox, where is hemmed in on all the dirt in the cave done poured down on top of old Brer Fox and trap him so he can't move, and the only one where can dig him out is Goofy Gopher. And old Brer Fox, he mad in the beginning 'cause Goofy Gopher done set the trap to catch him. Brer Fox come around want to fight, and Goofy Gopher, he got a way of his own of fighting. He don't mean that he gonna fight fist-like, but he gonna fight badness. That's what he mean. And old Brer Fox, he ain't never met nobody like Goofy Gopher before. You know how that is, too. You know, there are a lot of people in this world fighting, and they're not fighting with their fists. They're just fighting badness and meanness and hunger and famine and all of the no-count things that happen to folks. And they're the world's best fighters, them folks, the folks that fight the meanness. And you take two prize fighters, get up in the ring and fight, there ain't no fighting. There ain't nothing. But you take somebody where out fighting in the desert and in the badlands and in the swamps and in the tropics and out there fighting disease and everything like that and badness and everything, them is fighters. And that's what Goofy Gopher is. He the kind of fighter, you know, that look out for the devil, and he don't put up with nothing like that, you know. He realized that you got to keep fighting that way, or the first thing you know, the old boy catch up with you, and he ain't about to let that happen. And he got old Brer Fox just where he want him, and he gonna make him do some promising, both for his good and old Brer Fox is good, and little Brer Rabbit's good too. And Sis Crow, she egging him on up in the branch of the old oak tree. Let's get on over there, children. Come on.
Call! Make him do what you want him to do, Goofy Gopher. Call! Make him promise to be good, Goofy Gopher. Call!
That's the way she was a-going, and Goofy Gopher, well, he'd go over and he'd look at old Brer Fox and he'd say,
Well, I guess I ought to do something about this because that dirt's pretty heavy on you, ain't it, kiddo?
Yeah, get me out. I'll promise anything.
Make sure he holds to them promises, Goofy Gopher.
Yeah. Well, the first promise is that you stop going around bragging about how tough and how mean you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I promise that. I never will brag about how tough and how mean I is. No more.
Good. Well, I'll start digging you out in a moment. Now, there's one more promise, and then I guess that'll be all. See, I'm not going to make it too tough on you, kiddo, because if we who fight the badness, if we turn to be bad by making it too tough on folks that we want to make good, why, we'll be bad ourselves. We wouldn't want to do that. Oh, now, one more promise.
Okay. Oh, the squeezing. Okay.
Here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
I want you to promise that you never will eat up little Brer Rabbit.
Oh, no, now, wait a minute. I can't promise that, good. Well, after all, he a rabbit, and I a fox.
That don't make no difference, Brer Fox. You got to promise it.
Be still, Brer Rabbit.
Well, what about it?
No. Now stay here in this hillside till I burst into bloom, so I promise that. I ain't never been this shook up. As long as I live, which life will not be very long, I'm gonna eat rabbits. And there ain't nobody on the face of this earth gonna make me promise that I ain't gonna eat none.
Well. Well, now, I wouldn't ever do that. I wouldn't say that nobody could do it, because there's always somebody that can. Bear? Oh, yes, sir, Miss Goofy Gopher. What is it? I wondered if you'd do me a favor. Oh, I'd be happy to. Would you go up there where the hill caved in and just stand on it, you know, where the cave-in is?
Wait a minute. If he go up there and do that, he'd practically be standing on me, on top of all this dirt we're already on me.
Yeah, that's the idea. See, I'm good still fighting evil. We got to get evil around to where it'll perk up and behave itself, you know. Will you get up, Brer Bear? Oh, don't you just know it.
Children, old Brer Bear, where he used to climbing hills, he walk around the side, and he dig his sharp claws into the rocks and stones, and he commence pulling himself up to the top of the hill where he had caved in. And then, when he get to the top of the hill, he look down at Goofy Gopher and he say,
Well, what do you want me to do now, Goofy Gopher? What I'm getting at is,
Well, I want you to get right there on the edge and jump. Jump on all the dirt that's caved in.
Oh. Now?
No, but when I tell you.
Okay, tell me when.
Once again, Goofy Gopher go over to Brer Fox.
Well, kiddo, you promise you won't eat no more rabbits?
Ain't nobody gonna make me promise that. Nobody. As long as I live, I go eat rabbits.
Okay, Brer Bear, jump.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I promise I ain't never gonna eat no more rabbits. I ain't never gonna eat no more rabbits as long as I live. I ain't never gonna eat no more rabbits. All right, now dig me out, Goofy Gopher. Dig me out, because if you don't dig me out fast, I'm gonna. I ain't never gonna eat no more rabbits. And with that, Goofy Gopher sot about getting old Fox set free. And ain't it the truth, children? And ain't you done seen it happen many times? There's lots of folks in the world that always talk about what they ain't never gonna do, regardless. And them is the very folks, the ones where say they ain't never gonna do this, that, and the other. They is the very folks that wind up doing it one of these days. So it's a good idea to say I ain't never gonna do nothing if it's bad. But when it's good, don't make no predictions. Just say I gonna try my best. That's the story. This old Uncle Remus thanking the children for the day, hoping to see you tomorrow at this same time. Until then, goodbye, everybody.
Yes, although Brer Fox is not being nice to Goofy Gopher was still good to him. Make sure to be listening to the next part of this story tomorrow at the same time.
Obedience is the very best way to show that you believe. Doing and acting what the Lord commands, doing it happily. Action is the key to the immediately. Joy you will receive. Obedience is the very best way to show that you believe. O-B-E-D-I-E-N-C-E. Obedience is the very best best way to show that you believe.
My story, Hot Stoves and Ski Trips. Swinging open the oven door, Mary Ann removed a pan of cookies. As she set them on the table, her small brother darted into the kitchen. "Cookie!" exclaimed Peter, reaching toward the hot pan. "No!" cried Mary Ann, quickly pulling him aside. Peter howled and kicked furiously. "A money cookie! Money cookie!" "That's hot, Peter. You'll get burned if you touch it," Mary Ann told him. "What's going on here?" asked Mother, coming into the kitchen and taking hold of Peter. "Oh, Peter's mad because I stopped him from picking up the hot cookies," said Mary Ann. She went to answer the telephone while her mother dealt with Peter. A little later, Mary Ann slumped down in a chair as Mother took more cookies from the oven. That was Leslie. She was telling me about all the rules Pastor Dan has made up for our youth group's trip. We've been looking forward to going, but I'm not sure it's even going to be any fun. Leslie says there'll be room cleaning requirements, chaperones, and even a curfew. I think it's totally unfair. Just like Peter thought you were unfair for not letting him touch the hot cookies? Asked Mother. Mary Ann looked surprised. "Well, I don't mind if he has some cookies. I just didn't want him to get burned." "And Pastor Dan doesn't mind if you have fun, but he doesn't want you to get hurt. Pastor Dan is head of the youth division. Therefore, he's God's servant for your good, and God holds him responsible for every young person in the group. God will hold you accountable to obey the guidelines Pastor Dan sets whenever you're under his care." Mary Ann sighed. "I suppose," she said as the oven timer buzzed. She grinned at Peter, who was sitting quietly staring at the cookies. "Come on, little brother. Let's have some cookies and milk. They've cooled down, and they'll be great now. You'll see. And I'll try to remember how good the ski trip will be if I follow the rules." Well, how about you? Do you sometimes balk at rules? God says you are to obey those who have authority over you, like Mom and Dad and school teachers and folks at church, things like that. When you choose to obey, it will not only benefit you, it will also delight your Heavenly Father. Because remember one thing, when you disobey those in authority over you, you're really disobeying God. 1 Peter 2:13, "Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake."
Obey, obey, God wants me to obey. I'll listen to his word each day and then I will obey. Obey, obey, God wants me to obey. I'll listen to his word each day and then I will obey.
Well, I hope you're obeying your parents and obeying God's rules and those that are in authority. Let's hear about some children who did not listen to their parents' rules.
Follow the rules.
Mother, the seat of my new bike is too high. Can you lower it?
I don't think so, Lisa.
I can do it, Mom. Is it all right if I use one of Dad's wrenches?
Of course, David. Just be sure to put it back.
I will. Come out to the garage, Lisa. There, try it now, Lisa.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot better, Dave. Thanks.
Hi, Dave. What you doing? Hi, Jerry. I just fixed Lisa's bike for her. Can you go for a bike ride with me? I think so. I'll put this wrench back and ask Mom. I'll only be a couple of minutes. What was wrong with your bike, Lisa?
I just needed the seat lowered so I could reach the pedals better.
Oh, hey, I'm going to tighten that bolt on my bike while I'm waiting. Now, where'd Dave put that wrench? Oh, I see it.
Hey, you know you're not supposed to use Dad's tools. You've messed up his toolbox too often. Remember?
For crying out loud, I'm not going to hurt it.
Well, okay. But put it back when you're through. See you later.
Hello there, Betty.
Don, I didn't hear you drive in.
Small wonder I couldn't get near the garage for bikes. Where are the kids?
They're over at Todd's. He had a new game they're playing.
And which one of them used my wrench today?
Dave used it, but he said he put it back. I don't think he'd lie about it.
Well, I certainly hope not. Oh, here they come now.
Hi, Dad. We moved our bike so you can put the car in the garage.
Well, that's fine, son, but I want to know who used my wrench today and left it on the ground.
Not me.
Me neither. I didn't even touch it.
Well, when I came home from work, it was lying outside the garage. Now, somebody left it there.
I didn't.
I used it, Dad, but I put it back. Honest, didn't I, Lisa?
I think so.
Well, did you see anyone else use it?
No.
I didn't.
Well, you both know I insist my tools be taken care of. You know the rules. First, get permission to use them, and then put them back when you're through. Now, did you have permission to use the wrench, Dave?
Yes, Dad, and I put it back. I know I did.
And you didn't use it, Lisa?
No, Dad. I didn't have to. Dave fixed my bike.
Well, still, it was on the ground when I came home. Now, both of you better just stay home tonight. I'm sorry to be so strict about my tools, but you both know there's been some real problems there. If the rules are broken again, there'll be more severe punishment. Now, you better clean up for supper.
Here was stuck home, and I can't even ride my new bike. All on account of Jerry.
Jerry? What does he have to do with it?
He's the one who left the wrench out.
How do you know?
I saw him. I told him to put it back, but I left before he was through with it.
Why didn't you tell Dad?
And get punished for letting him use it? No way.
So you're punished anyhow?
Not as bad as I'd be if Dad knew I let him use it.
Maybe not, but I'd be let out.
Oh, it won't kill you to stay home one night.
I don't know about you, Lisa. You think you can go by your own rules, no matter who gets hurt.
So what? My rules keep me out of trouble.
Well, guess I'll go read a while, then turn in early. Tomorrow will be better, I hope.
That was a good supper, Betty.
Thanks, Don.
Say, look at the time. I have to be at church early for the board meeting.
Oh, that's right. Lisa, would you like me to give you that lesson in macrame tonight?
Not tonight, Mom. I want to ride my bike.
Me too.
Well, help your mother with the dishes first, kids, and be sure you're home before dark.
Okay, Dad.
Jerry, can you go bike riding with me?
Not till I finish trimming around these shrubs. Besides, my bike has a flat tire and we don't got a pump.
I'll go see if I can use ours. Then I can fix it while you get done.
What took you so long?
I couldn't find my mother. She wasn't home.
Well, hurry up and pump up that tire. I'm ready to go. There, that's enough. Let's go.
I have to take the pump home first.
You can do that later. I want to ride the other way, down by the channel.
Well, okay. I guess it'll be all right. It's starting to get dark, Jerry. I have to go home.
Me too. It got dark awful early and it looks like rain.
Yeah, and I have to stop for the pump before I go home.
That's right. Wow, here it comes. Go on home, Dave. I'll bring the pump over in the morning.
Okay.
What's wrong with you, Dave? You've been moping around ever since you got home from school.
I'm in trouble. Last night I took the pump to fix Jerry's tire. He was supposed to bring it back this morning, but he couldn't find it.
Wow, I guess you are in trouble. Don't let on you know anything about it. You'd have to buy a new pump and probably get grounded besides. It's dumb to get into trouble when it's not even your fault.
I know all that, but still, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll go see if maybe Jerry found it yet.
No, Dave. I've searched the garage. It's gone. Look, don't say anything about it, will ya? You'll get me in trouble, too. My dad'll blame me for leaving it out, and I'm already enough trouble with your dad.
I sure wish I hadn't taken it without permission.
Look, Dave, you did me a favor. You shouldn't get punished for that. Just don't say anything about it, Dave, will ya?
I don't know what to do. I'll see you later, Jerry. Dad, I've got something to tell you.
What is it, son?
Well, yesterday I took our pump to Jerry's to fix his flat tire.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask Mom, but she had gone next door, and I couldn't find her. Then when I got the tire fixed, it was getting late, so I left it at Jerry's while we went riding.
Yeah, I see.
Then it started to rain, and Jerry said not to stop for it. He'd bring it in the morning. But it's gone. He can't find it.
Oh, mercy. Breaking the rules really got you into a mess, didn't it?
Yes, Dad. I'm sorry. I'll buy you a new pump.
Well, that won't be necessary, Dave. You see, Jerry's dad found the pump last night and took it in out of the rain. He's sending Jerry over with it.
Oh, great.
Now, because you were honest about this, David, I'm only going to ground you for the rest of the day.
Thanks for going easy on me, Dad.
Well, I think you've learned a lesson.
I did, Dad. I didn't want to tell what happened, but I kept thinking of that Bible verse. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but he that confesseth and forsaketh them shall find mercy. That made me think I should follow God's rules.
Well, I'm glad you did, Dave. And you're right. God's rules are the only ones to follow.
Lisa, how come you're hanging around the house?
Didn't you hear? Dad caught Jerry using his tools, and then Jerry told him I let him use them before. Now I can't ride my bike for 2 weeks. Not much sense in having one.
It's tough, Lisa, but
I know. I thought I could do things my way, but it only got me into trouble.
Yeah, we should follow all God's rules, like obey your parents.
And putting away lying. Speak every man truth with his neighbor. You were right, Dave. You followed God's rules and got mercy. Obey, obey. God wants me to obey. I'll listen to his word each day and then I will obey. Obey, obey. God wants me to obey. I'll listen to his word each day and then I will obey.
I indeed hope you are following all God's rules. Then you'll be able to be obedient to your parents and follow any other rules and never end up in trouble. But in order for you to follow any rule, you have to give your heart and life to the Lord Jesus Christ. Ask Him to guide your life, and He will. Then you'll be able to trust and obey Him when you put your trust in Him.
When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, for the glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Not the shadow can rise, not the cloud in the sky, but His night quickly guides it away. Not the darkness
Are you walking with the Lord Jesus Christ today and being obedient to His word? This is your teacher, Francine, saying see you next time with all the Captain's kids. Goodbye.
Captain